This week's card is a Mother's Day card that's coming up this year on May 11th. So you can get your Mother's Day cards done early and you won't have to worry about them later. This card uses an embossing folder, and normally you would see embossing folders just on a solid piece of cardstock. This one has a special inking technique to it, and that's what gives it this beautiful greenish haze in the background. So if you want to learn how I did that, just stay tuned and I'll let you know all my techniques. There's the inside, it's actually the reverse. So I really enjoyed making this card and I hope you do too. Today I'll be using the Dandelion Wishes small stamp, the Dandelion embossing folder, the Family and Friends Dazzles in black. Now I have used a couple of these already, but just pretend that this is a full sheet. And then finally the Simply Susan paper pack, and this is a double-sided paper pack, so front and the back. Awesome colors there. Alright, now that we have all of our items, let's get started. So I've got my embossing folder open here, and this is Aquamarine Fluid Chalk ink. I'm going to take a cosmetic sponge and lightly dab it on the ink, and I'm actually going to ink up my embossing folder, and it's going to ink up the entire background. You don't need to get it all the way to the very edges. It just depends on what kind of look you want. But I do want to get it around the edges here of the black image. Okay, so I've inked that all up, and now I'm going to place some cardstock inside. This is just white cardstock. It's nice to have a nice heavy cardstock for this, since the embossing does kind of press the paper a lot, so it's nice to have a sturdy paper to press into. Okay, taking my Epic 6 die cutting machine and embossing machine, I'm going to roll this through. And open it up, and there is the beautiful result. Wow, I just love the look of that. Now I did do a test on the other side of the embossing folder and ink that up, and if you wanted to have that look, it's also equally awesome. So this has actually sort of got a letterpress look to it because of the imprint of the image. And but this is the one I'm going to be using today for my card. So I'm just going to trim off some of the sides here, and then we'll move on. Oh, and don't forget to wash off your embossing folder with warm soapy water right away so that the ink doesn't dry on it and get on your future projects. Okay, so I've got my stamp here. You just peel that off. And I'm going to apply my stamp to my acrylic block. And I'm going to use some Jet Black StazOn. This is a brand new stamp, so it's sticking extra strong. But these stamps are pretty durable, so don't worry about ripping it or anything. So make sure you keep this kind of layer to protect the other side of your stamps. Alright. Now sometimes brand new stamps have a really thin layer of, I don't know what it is. In the manufacturing process, it makes it really slick on the surface, so sometimes ink has trouble sticking to it. So what you can do is use just a pencil eraser and kind of drag that across the whole thing. Or what I've also done in the past is use just a fine sanding block and just kind of scuff up the surface. And that's mainly for to give the surface an extra kind of grip for the ink to sit on so that it doesn't bead up on the surface of the stamp and it won't make your image look kind of splotchy. So just a little tip for y'all. Alright, so stays on. Ink up my stamp. My Saison is getting a little bit dry. I think I need to go in with the re-inker soon. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I want to angle it in towards the card here. And it's going to be going off the bottom edge. My thinking with this design is that there's a mama dandelion and a baby dandelion since this is going to be a Mother's Day card. So that is, I love the detail on the stamp, by the way. Let me give you a close-up of that. And the StazOn does a wonderful job of transferring that detail to the paper. These tiny little spokes. So it's pretty amazing what stamps can do. Alright, now I'm going to mat this on this nice textured black background, just leaving about that much of a border all the way around. So I've also matted it a second time on this purple pattern paper just for another color in the mix, and I've covered my 6.5 inch by 5 inch card with this really pretty aqua patterned paper, and it goes perfectly with the aquamarine ink that I used on the embossing folder. And I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this piece right to the center. Sometimes I like to turn it over and just rub over the back so I don't rub over the bumpy surface on the front. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for this little piece, I've just used the Friends and Family Dazzles. There's plenty of words that mean mom on here. So I just put the mom on this lilac pattern paper and cut just a narrow little rectangle around it. Matted it on this black paper, same as these two papers right here. And now I have also tied a small ribbon. This is actually one piece of long ribbon. I've just tied a bow with the ends, and my little word right here is going to end up hanging from that bow, kind of like a tag. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down, or actually I'm going to foam tape it down just to give it a little more dimension. And then I'm going to attach my ribbon with some zips and some zots. And the zips are right here. They're glue lines. They're super useful for gluing down ribbon without making a mess. And then the zots are just the little dots. So these are definitely crafting essentials for me. So here is the finished card front. I do want to let you know this ribbon here is from the Simply Susan ribbon set, which matches perfectly with those papers. So we've got the ribbon going across the front. It's not tucked in at all. It's just cut off at the edges because I glued down really well these ends with the zips. So even if I cut the edges right here, they will not fray. So there's my little mom hanging tag, and that's the front of my Mother's Day card. The inside, if you'll remember the beginning of this video, I showed you two options of the embossing folder. This is the second one. I thought this piece was too pretty to not use. So as you can see, it is the reverse image of the front. So this is inking the other side of the embossing folder very carefully. You can see I've not done a perfect job, but that's okay with me. So there's a bit of room here if you want to add your own personalized greeting to your own mother. But that is all for today. So stay tuned for this week's bundle offer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next week. First in the bundle is the awesome Simply Susan double-sided paper pack. There are 12 sheets in. First in the bundle we have the Simply Susan. First in the bundle we have the Simply Susan paper pack. It is double-sided. These are the 6 sheets of paper, or the 6 designs you'll get, but you'll get 2 of each. So this is the back of the paper, and some really pretty designs in here. I love the combo of the lilac with the kind of a lime green and aqua colors, as well as some black and gray thrown in. Really pretty designs. Look at that really pretty floral pattern. And this is a houndstooth design. And then this is the kind of the star of the show with its beautiful border here. So we've got that. We also have the Dandelion embossing folder. It measures 4 1/8 by 5 7/8, so perfect for a card made out of a quarter size of a regular 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, otherwise known as A2 size. Then we have the Family and Friends Dazzles in Black. It has 72 different words on here, so including family and friends, and then even some greetings here. And then finally the small Dandelion Wishes stamp, which has got amazing detail and includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stamps. So that is today's bundle. I think it's a great deal. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again next week.